In today's video, I'm going to take you through some intermediate or slightly harder exercise options for your lateral hip or greater trochanteric pain. And make sure you keep watching until the very end of the video, as I'm going to be giving you a pro tip when it comes to returning to your normal activities, just to get you there that bit quicker. And we're going to start right now. So for the first couple of exercises, you're going to need to be on the floor. We're going to do a few different bridge variations that you can try at home. So in the first one, we're going to do a single leg bridge. So you're going to bend both knees. If the right side is the affected side, you're going to have left leg up in front. Keep your thighs nice and in line with each other. You're going to push up, really squeeze that bottom in, and then slowly come down. Push up. Hold for a few seconds and then slowly come down. With any injury, it's always good practice to do the same exercise on both sides. In the video that I put together on slightly easier lateral hip pain exercises, we did a double leg bridge on a flat surface. The progression of that would be doing the double leg bridge on a step. So if you have a step at home, great. If not, you can just use the bottom step at home. Just going to push up, squeeze your bottom, and then slowly down. Squeeze your bottom in, push up, hold for a few seconds, and then slowly down. And then similarly, the progression would be one leg. So unaffected leg out in front, push up, hold, slowly down, push up, hold, and then slowly lower down. Now, one of the best exercises that you can do in terms of maximal glute activation is a step up. So really simple. So I've got a step here. You'll have your affected leg on the step. You're just going to push up and then come back down. Now, in terms of strength and conditioning, which is what we're trying to achieve, we're really aiming for between 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 12 reps. And we're looking to complete that 3 to 4 times a week, so every other day, ensuring that you've got that day off in between for those muscles to recover and repair. If you can achieve the adequate reps and sets and you find it too easy, so there's no sign of fatigue or muscle achiness by the time you finish that set, then you do need to progress. So I'm progressing with weight. If you don't have weights at home, you could put a rucksack on your back. This is also quite a small step, so you could use a deeper step or a deeper platform at home to push up on. A further way that you could progress that doesn't involve any more equipment would just be to not step and rest. So you'll come up, but don't step down and rest. Step up and then just tap and come back up. Tap and come back up, and then you can progress that by just stepping back further. So lean forwards, reach the left leg further back, and then come up. Reach the left leg further back and then come back up. A lateral step up is another really good way of getting the lateral hip working, and it is as simple as it says on the tin. So you're just going to keep the trunk upright, push up and then back down, push up and then back down. And then the progressions are exactly the same. You could add some weight, you could get a deeper step, or you could just go further out to the side and don't rest in between. Now we're going to move on to some split squats. If you did need to hold on to something to help you get started, that's absolutely fine, but you're going to have one foot in front of the other. Rear foot is going to come off the floor, and then you're just going to come down so that rear knee nearly touches the floor, and then you're going to come back up. So it's not like a lunge where you're going forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. You're just going to do one set at a time, and then you'll swap over and do the other set. If you wanted to progress, you just add some weight. You can have 2 dumbbells either side, you could have a heavier one in front of you, or you could again just grab a rucksack, pop some weight in there, and that will do the job just fine. A quick interruption just to say I've recently put a shop together with lots of different exercise motivation and medical myth busting t-shirts and hoodies just like this one. So if that sounds like something you'd like to wear down the gym, on your run, or even just down the pub, you can find a link to the shop in the description below the video. I really hope you enjoy the rest of this one. A split squat variation that tends to be slightly harder would be a Bulgarian split squat. So you have your rear foot elevated, hold on to something to get you started because your balance is more compromised with this one, and then you just come down and back up, down and back up. Progressions are exactly the same. You could grab your weights either side, out in front, or rucksack on your back. Squats are another really good exercise to get your glutes under some load and build up that lateral hip strength. So in terms of technique, let's just talk about a few things that people do wrong. First one would be they bend the knees first. As soon as that happens, knees go over the toes. So imagine there's a chair behind you. You're going to park your bottom in the chair. So first thing that happens is hips go backwards. So drive your hips back, park your bottom on the chair. If you look down, you should be able to see your toes, and then come back up. If your knees do go first, your feet will disappear. So hips back, look down, you should be able to see your toes. And then once you've got the adequate reps and sets, and it's quite easy, then you add the additional weight. So exactly the same progressions as the split squat and the Bulgarian split squat. A couple of weights in front, one heavier weight, kettlebell if you've got access to a gym, or you're lucky enough to have them at home, or rucksack on your back, will do the job just fine. This time we're going to do some deadlifts, which are not only a great exercise for glute activation, but they're also going to get your hamstrings in the back of the thigh working as well. Similar starting position, feet hip width apart, similar to the squat. You're going to bend your knees slightly, slight bend in the hip, and then you're going to lean your trunk forwards, which is different to the squat. Your trunk stays upright. So lean forwards and then come back up. At some point your chest will be parallel to the floor, and you want to maintain a nice straight back. Once you're happy with the technique, then you can add your load, and then you push up and then back down. When you get to the end point or through the range, you should feel a real pull in the back of the hamstrings, the back of the thigh, and then extend up through your knees, extend up through your hips until you're back in standing. Another variation of a deadlift will be trying it on a single leg, which is obviously harder, so you may need to reduce the load. You can also hold on to get yourself started. Exactly the same movement, just on one leg. A little bit of bend in the knee, little bit of bend in the hip, and then the rear foot goes backwards as you go forward. When you're happy with the technique, you can add your load. And the same applies. Just lean forwards, there'll be more of a pull in the back of the leg, straighten the knee, straighten the hip, and then extend all the way back up into standing. If you are hoping to get back to some higher level activities, things that involve hopping, jumping, landing, or running, you do at some point need to incorporate those types of movements into your rehab program, so your program is functional for what you want to get back to. Again, I haven't got a very deep step here, so I can't show you a box jump, but you could, if you had a deep enough platform where you're in a gym, jump onto a higher box. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to do a jump down. So the first version you could try would be to start on 2 feet, land on 2 feet. Once you're comfortable with that, then you could progress on to landing on the affected side. Again, always a good idea to do both, but land on the affected side, come back up, land on the affected side, and come back up. And then you could also do that laterally as well, so off to the side. So starting with both feet on the step, landing on the affected leg, starting with both feet on the box, and then landing on that affected leg. Now, I did say if you stay tuned until the very end of the video, I would give you a pro tip to try and get you back to your activities, sport, or function a little bit quicker. Now, one thing that people tend to do, not just with hip pain, but with any type of injury, is wait until their symptoms are completely pain-free before returning to said activity. Now, because we know that pain is not necessarily a sign of tissue damage, in fact, pain often correlates quite poorly with tissue and structure, or the amount of pathology that there is in that tissue. We know that it is safe and absolutely fine to be moving, exercising, and working into some degree of discomfort, which means that your symptoms don't have to be completely resolved before you return to your end goal. Now, the caveat with that is obviously we don't want you to be working or exercising into high degrees of pain, but you can definitely monitor how your symptoms respond to that new activity. For example, if you were previously a runner and you would like to get back to running, obviously it's a good idea to start at a slightly lower level. Let's say you were doing 5 kilometers before and that was really flaring up your symptoms. You may start off with 2 kilometers. If at the end of that 2 kilometers or even during that 2 kilometers, you can feel that your hip is getting a little bit niggly, it's a little bit sore, but it's all quite manageable. And then over the following couple of days, it may slightly increase on top of your baseline, but again, it's quite manageable and it doesn't get in the way of your daily activities. And then within a couple of days, it settles back down to baseline. Bear in mind, we already have a baseline level of symptoms, then that is a safe and appropriate level of discomfort to be working into. If, however, you find that your symptoms are significantly worse and that pain then lasts for a 3 or 4 day period, that probably is a sign not that you've done any damage, but probably that we've just overloaded the tissue a bit too early and a bit too quick. In this situation, all you need to do is let things calm back down to baseline. Then you may go back to said activity, but change some sort of variable to make it easier and more tolerable. It might be the distance, it might be the speed, it might be the gradient. You can just have a play around with things to make it easier and then go through the same process again. Give yourself that 24 or 48 hours to see how your symptoms respond and then manage things accordingly. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you found today's video helpful. I'd love to hear from you, so drop me a comment below the video and let me know what your end goal is with your lateral hip pain. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. It also means you'll get notified every time I release a new video. If you have got to the end of this one and you have found the exercises a little bit too difficult, there is a whole video on the channel with slightly easier options that you'll find more tolerable. And until then, I will see you in the next one.